Have you ever stood before a person and felt in the marrow of your bones the weight of their foolishness pressing against you like a thick, suffocating fog? That moment when their words hang in the air hollow and clumsy, and you realize with a quiet, almost tragic certainty, this is a mind that moves without light. A ship adrift in a storm it neither understands nor fears. Foolishness, as Machiavelli observed, is not mere ignorance. It is a relentless, self-inflicted blindness, a refusal to see the world as it is rather than as one wishes it to be. And in that refusal lies ruin. To speak of stupidity is not to mock, but to unveil a profound cosmic irony. The universe, in all its intricate, unforgiving logic, has no patience for those who will not learn its rhythms. The stars do not pause for the man who denies gravity. The tides do not retreat for the one who scoffs at the moon. And so too does human society, that vast and shifting labyrinth of power and perception. Crush those who stumble through it without awareness. Machiavelli, that sharp-eyed architect of strategy, understood this deeply. His observations on folly were not petty judgments but survival notes, etched in the ink of cold, hard necessity. What then are the signs of such stupidity? They are not mere intellectual failings but fractures in the very foundation of how one navigates reality. Imagine a traveler who, upon reaching a fork in the road, insists both paths lead the same way, not out of deception, but out of an almost childlike inability to discern difference. This is the essence of the stupid mind. A world flattened, nuance erased, cause and effect severed like a bridge cut mid-span. And yet, in recognizing these signs, we do more than diagnose others. We arm ourselves against the same fate. For foolishness is contagious, a shadow that lingers at the edges of even the brightest minds. So let us begin this exploration not with disdain, but with the solemn curiosity of a philosopher peeling back layers of an ancient text. For in understanding stupidity, we touch something far greater: the delicate, unyielding laws of power, perception, and survival that govern all things. To navigate the landscape of stupidity, as Machiavelli might frame it, is to walk through a hall of mirrors where every reflection distorts not just the image but the very act of seeing. The stupid person is not merely wrong. They are wrong in a way that resists correction, like a river carving its path through stone, indifferent to the fact that it flows toward a cliff. There is a stubbornness here, a rigidity that mistakes itself for strength. And it is this unyielding quality that transforms simple ignorance into something far more dangerous. The first sign, then, is an inability to learn, not for lack of opportunity, but because the mind has sealed itself shut, like a book whose pages have been glued together. The second sign is a blindness to consequences, where the wise tread lightly, anticipating the reverberations of their actions. The stupid charge forward as though the world were a vacuum, silent and consequence-free. It is as if they believe in a universe that pauses for their missteps, rewriting its laws to accommodate their blunders. Machiavelli would recognize this as a fatal flaw in any player of power. For history does not forgive those who cannot see beyond their own impulses. The third sign is a chronic misunderstanding of others' motives. The stupid person moves through life as though everyone operates on the same stunted wavelength, projecting their own simplicity onto minds far more layered and calculating. In this way, they are perpetually outmaneuvered, like a pawn that cannot fathom the strategy of the chessboard. Then there is the fourth sign, an obsession with appearances over substance. The stupid person clings to symbols, titles, empty praise, superficial victories, as though they were talismans against reality. They are the ones who polish the crown while the kingdom crumbles, who mistake the map for the territory. The fifth sign is an absence of self-preservation, a reckless disregard for danger that borders on the suicidal. Where a fox senses the trap and a snake avoids the footfall, the stupid walk openly into snares, then rage at the jaws that close around them. And finally, the sixth sign, an inability to recognize their own stupidity. This is the great paradox, the Ouroboros of folly. The very thing that would save them is the thing they cannot grasp. Like a man drowning in shallow water because he refuses to believe it is wet, the stupid person is trapped in a loop of their own making. Machiavelli's genius was in seeing that stupidity is not just an individual failing but a vortex that drags down empires, topples kings, and unravels the careful plans of those who must suffer the presence of fools. Imagine an ancient kingdom, its towers gleaming under a watchful sun, its walls fortified by generations of cunning rulers. Yet within its heart lurks a silent rot, a chancellor, beloved for his boisterous laughter and grand proclamations, who cannot see the scheming of his enemies. He mistakes flattery for loyalty, bravado for strength, and in his blindness, he opens the gates to invaders clad in smiles. This is the tragedy of stupidity. It is not merely an absence of wisdom, but an active unraveling of it. Like a weaver who pulls at his own threads and marvels at the fraying tapestry, there is a deeper rhythm here, a pattern echoing through myth and history alike. Consider Icarus, not as a cautionary tale of hubris alone, but as a portrait of stupidity's fatal charm. His father's warnings were not complex. They were the simple laws of wax and sun. Yet Icarus, giddy with the illusion of his own brilliance, soared too high. The stupid are not merely reckless. They are poets of their own demise, crafting elaborate justifications for why the fire won't burn them, why the tide won't rise this time. Theirs is a world where exceptions are the rule, where the universe itself is expected to bend to their myopia. In Eastern lore, the monkey who grasps for the moon in a pond drowns not because the moon was unattainable, but because it could not comprehend the nature of reflections. So too does the stupid person mistake shadows for substance, chasing after illusions of success, love, or power without ever pausing to question the nature of the water's surface. Machiavelli's insights cut through these delusions with the precision of a surgeon's blade. He understood that the stupid are not merely unfortunate, but dangerous, for they drag others into their storms. A kingdom can survive a tyrant's cruelty, but rarely a fool's benevolence. Even nature whispers this truth. The dodo, plump and trusting, waddled into extinction because it could not fathom a threat it had never seen. The stupid share this fate, not from lack of intelligence, but from an unwillingness to update it. They are fossils in a living world, rigid where the wise remain fluid, brittle where the cunning bend. And yet, here lies the cruelest twist. Their downfall is often narrated as misfortune rather than inevitability. The universe, after all, does not conspire against them. It merely unfolds as it always has, while they stand still, bewildered by the movement of time. To recognize these signs in the wild is to arm oneself against the silent erosion of potential, both yours and others. The first practical truth is this: stupidity is not an immutable curse, but a series of unchecked habits. Like a gardener who has neglected to prune back the thorns, we often let small follies grow until they choke out wisdom entirely. The remedy lies not in contempt, but in ruthless self-auditing. Ask, with Machiavellian detachment, where have I been the chancellor, ignoring schemers in favor of smooth talkers? When have I been Icarus, dismissing the laws of thermodynamics for the thrill of the ascent? The line between confidence and delusion is thinner than we admit. In the theater of daily life, these principles manifest with startling clarity. Consider the co-worker who mistakes sycophants for allies, or the politician who prioritizes applause over infrastructure. Their eventual undoing is predictable, not because the world is cruel, but because it is consistent. The laws of social gravity do not suspend themselves for the oblivious. Here lies the second imperative: cultivate the art of consequence mapping. Before speaking, acting, or aligning yourself, trace the invisible threads that connect cause to effect. The stupid see actions as isolated events. The wise recognize them as stones cast into a pond, ripples extending far beyond the initial splash. Yet awareness alone is insufficient. The third imperative is strategic distancing. Not all fools can be educated, and proximity to their chaos is a voluntary risk. Like a sailor who steers clear of whirlpools, you must learn to identify and navigate around those who embody the six signs, not with arrogance, but with the quiet precision of self-preservation. This is not cynicism. It is the acknowledgement that time and energy are finite resources. Pouring them into bottomless vessels is not kindness, but complicity and waste. The transformational call here is twofold. First, purge the stupidities you've internalized, those inherited assumptions, lazy heuristics, and unexamined loyalties that linger like ghosts in your decision-making attic. Second, refine your discernment to spot these patterns in others without malice. The goal is not to build a fortress of superiority, but to develop a lens that clarifies the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Machiavelli's real gift was this cold, clean clarity, the ability to see the rot without denying the garden. We conclude where we began, at the crossroads of power and perception. Stupidity, in the Machiavellian sense, is ultimately a failure of alignment with reality's relentless grammar. To transcend it is to become a student of that grammar, parsing its syntax in every interaction, every choice. The universe favors those who listen to its whispers, or at the very least, those who heed its thunder. The call is not to genius, but to vigilance, not to perfection, but to awareness. And in that awareness, there is an unexpected liberation. The freedom to move through the world not as its victim, but as its interpreter.